Coming up on Light Talk.
But not just relearning, unlearning and transforming. So I think, it's unlearning what we have learned in last 30 years or 20 years or 10 years, unlearning not at the core of our work, but unlearning, how we produce the work, which software we use for the work, because those softwares would not be good enough, right? Whether it's Photoshop or it is Excel or it's PowerPoint or, other things, CAD or BIM or, whatever it is. So I think it's just trying to disconnect from those workflows so that we can be flexible to learn how it can be done in a different way with the AI first approach. And then it's not just learning, because if you just learn the new approach, it's not enough. So it is then integrating and transforming. So I think unlearn, learn, and transform. So this is what I would actually say.
Kuldeep, welcome.
Hey, hi, Martin. Good to see you finally.
Yes. As you know, I've been conducting a series of interviews and chats with people in the industry, specifically those that are active in the AI world. And I want to sort of understand from various key players in the market how that AI is starting to really affect the way we do our profession. But before we dive into AI itself, I wanted to have a quick understanding of your career path towards where we are today, where you started. I think we have a bit of a similar background because I also started with Philips many years back, slightly before you. But maybe you can enlighten the audience a little bit about where you came from and what your life was before AI started to change things radically.
Martin, first of all, thanks a lot for having me in this series of AI leaders. So I think this is great, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with you because I've seen a lot of impressive work that you've been doing all around the world. So yeah, we have like similar career transition. So I have been in lighting industry almost 30 years, which I never realized that it's 3 decades. So I have been living projects and luminaires all my life, like everybody else in the industry. I worked for Philips for around 11 years, and I started with Philips in Middle East initially. Then I moved to Europe. That was the transition towards the solid state LED lighting. And I did product management, built some products at Philips here in Europe. And then, that was the time when Philips was not working so much with lighting designers and specifiers. So I saw an opportunity there with LEDs, and I thought, oh, wow, I would love to develop that. And then I went and developed Philips creative specifier approach, talking to people like Mark Major and talking to Foster's, doing some projects together. And that was really fascinating to start, understanding how lighting designers approach, concepts and how they, illuminate spaces and actually create magic with light. So that's really a career that I have had in lighting. Corporate Philips 11 years, but then I moved also worked with a lot of startups, small companies. I did 6-7 years at Coolidge and some other companies like Adolites in Germany before I started actually dwelling into AI like you.
Yeah. But I think these years are quite formative. I mean, for me, they have been very formative in terms of the experience you build up and the not only the experience in product knowledge and lighting design, but also the cultural encounters you have by working in different countries, in different environments geographically. And you were at a point in Philips where there was sort of a revolution because LED was a revolution, and now we have the AI revolution. So I don't know, did you live that period where LED became really sort of a revolution for those that had been brought up specifically with the old generation lighting technology, and then suddenly having to change. So that's a big shift. How did you experience that when you were in Philips?
I think that was like one of the fascinating opportunities to see that lighting can be so exciting. I think without LED, lighting was looking to be boring. There was a lot of controls, development going on, but I think LED just revolutionized everything and making it like a solid state device that you can connect, you can actually control, and that was so amazing. And you can actually redesign products, you can become miniaturize small products, it can integrate in architecture. So that was really incredible, and I think that's the reason that I stayed so long in lighting. I think if there was not LEDs, a lot of people would have left because it
Mm.
started to get
Yeah.
boring afterwards, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think absolutely we had to readjust as we are readjusting now to AI in our lives. But I find it also fascinating that when you live and work in different countries, geographically different cultures, did you feel that people were reacting differently if you were, let's say, well, of course, you studied in Pune, I think, in India, right?
Yes, yeah, in India, yeah.
And then you did work in Middle East, and now I think you're based in London. So you have this huge different impacts in terms of how people undergo, I think, culturally all these changes. What's your experience with that?
No, I think certainly. I mean, I think different cultures actually, adopt uh, new technologies, adopt innovation in a different way. And certainly, I think my experience is that certainly in the East and in the Middle East, people are very enthusiastic, but the adoption takes a bit longer. But in
Mm,
Europe, I think you see the enthusiasm is not that visible. But when actually they think that it makes sense in Europe, and I think in West in US also, so the adoption is much faster then. And actually, also I think that happened with LEDs. The adoption started actually from the West, and then it went to East. But also creating actually meaningful solutions, I think that's more important. Where actually that's why I think in the Western world, in Europe specifically, we take a bit longer, but once people are convinced, they move fast. And I think in the East, I would say, people start experimenting immediately. And then, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And that's what I'm seeing also with AI. And, in my last experience of last 3 years. So I have clients in the East, in the West, and I'm now seeing actually, when, I mean, initially a lot of, response and a lot of excitement in the East and trying to start actually testing a lot of AI workflows. But now, actually, I think from the West, from Europe and US, I think most people have been waiting, but now they see that this is the right time, and now they're jumping
mm.
on this opportunity, and they're moving so fast.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You have, before we jump into I think an important aspect of your career is also what I would maybe call your entrepreneurial side, because once you left Philips, you started all kinds of little entrepreneurial
Yeah,
adventures. Because doing design is one thing, but knowing how to run a business is another thing, and how to sell.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that probably sets you also apart in terms of that sort of knowledge. And I think that the expertise that you build up is probably very valuable right now, setting up your AI. Tell me a bit what you feel about the importance of having that entrepreneurial and business acumen when you do this.
So I think, yeah, it's like very important because I mean, I think in entrepreneurial setup, so you keep learning, you keep changing your direction. There is no fixed roadmap. Although you create a roadmap, you create a strategic plan, but you just keep adapting, and you keep changing things based on how the market moves, how technology moves, how the world moves. So I think that's the best part of having that flexibility
Mm,
and doing what you love, right? So doing what you love, and I think that makes you go much faster, and that makes you adapt and adopt things faster, and being agile, and being able to innovate and accept technologies like AI, and just play with them, see what works, fail fast. I think failing fast, failing actually on things is also equally important than actually succeeding on everything. And once you fail, you realize it doesn't work. Let's actually move on something that works, right? So then you get to iterate much faster.
mm. Well, that the new generation jumps with AI is understandable, but for the older generation, making that switch is not a given, right? So it would be interesting to understand what triggered you to make that switch to AI, and how do you embrace that today? Because there must have been a moment they say, "Oh, this AI
Yeah, yeah,
something is gonna
yeah.
if I don't jump on it now." So what was the trigger moment for you?
So yeah, no, I think that's really a good question. But I don't consider myself as the older generation yet. No, just
Well,
jokes
I
apart.
think 30 years in the
No, no,
business.
I know.
We
That's
can say, okay,
yeah,
I'm
no, sure.
47 years in the business, but 30 years is also very, very considerable. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So my son tells me that you're old, so I have to accept that. um, yeah, I think certainly. I think there was a moment in my career. There were several moments in my career. I mean, I came out of the university and I went straight into lighting. And you know I had actually a professor in my university in Pune, Mr. Stalekar, so who was actually a lighting designer, and he was actually teaching us illumination engineering. And I got excited about the topic, and those days it was actually compact fluorescent lamps. And I did a project with him on hotel lighting, and I got excited, and then he helped me a lot. Um, so uh, so I think, and then with LED, and having these, like, innovation innovation cycles in the industry, that kept me going. But then I think just before COVID, around COVID, so it was feeling again like, sort of not much happening in terms of innovation, in terms of excitement. And then COVID hit us, and during COVID, with everything, what happened around us, so I thought, I'm not going to end my career without actually looking at latest technologies and building something meaningful with it, right? And then I joined a program at Wharton, a 1 year program on digital innovation, and that's where you learn how technology reshapes industries, like how Netflix revolutionized entertainment industry. And then I did that program for 1 year. We did a capstone project. I also created a concept called LumiBuilder.ai with some friends in the industry, product designers, architects, where we created a workflow from text. We use AI to create a workflow from text to 2D images to 3D parametric models, which we can actually customize and print luminous on 3D printers from recycled waste. So that was really a test. It was amazing to see how it was, like, already 2 years back. Um, and then afterwards, so I thought the market is still not ready to accept that. And then a few years back, I created this Rise with AI platform based on my own experience, the transition I had towards digital side. And then also when large language models and generative AI became a thing, I signed up for a 6-month AI program at Mind Valley. And then I learned actually how you could integrate AI in your workflows. I created Rise with AI, and that's about empowerment. That's about augmenting, us as humans with AI in our industry. And Rise is actually, it's R is about reimagining our work, reimagining our workflows in AI world, and I is then integrating AI in our work and in our workflows, and S is showing up, regularly, and expanding that to
Yeah.
yeah. And he is engaging, he is like elevating. So I think this is how actually I transformed my work. And then I thought, what I learned in 2 years, so how can I create a platform and or an initiative where I can help lighting designers and other professionals actually transform in weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, rather than years. So yeah, so that's really, about me transitioning into AI. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Is Rise an evolution from your Lumi Builder adventure, or is that not related?
Um, so it's not related as such. So the Lumi Builder initiative, we had four of us together. So this Rise is my own initiative. Yeah, so it's not connected with that actually.
So now you have developed Rise. The concept of Rise, is that something that eventuated from your Mind Valley adventure, your journey there, or was it something that once you went through that master, is it a master class or something that sort of drove you to come up with ideas and okay, what am I going to do now? You have a lighting design background, right? A lighting engineering background.
Yes, yes, yeah,
So to come to a concept like Rise, there's probably a few steps there. It's not like it doesn't happen
yeah,
overnight. That
yeah,
must
yeah,
be a
sure, 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 yeah,
thinking
yeah,
process from, because I would imagine you would still have had to provide. I know because you have a business. I'm not sure if you have a family, but you still have to
yes,
provide
yeah, yeah,
living for yourself and your family,
yeah.
right? So it's not just okay. I set everything aside and I set something up. I still probably need to balance that with creating income through my regular activities. How was that for you?
Yeah, so I think that's always challenging when you set up something new. You have still have to pay the bills, and you don't get the clients the first day when you set up something new. So I've been lucky enough to be in the industry for this long that I could still continue doing some work with lighting manufacturers and build my AI business. So I've been working with the German manufacturer called Aerolights, where we do a lot of I do strategy work for them. I do some AI work for them. Um, but then I think the thing is that you asked me if it came from Mind Valley, the Rise thing. So the Rise with AI initiative. So I had actually like the Lumi Builder idea came from Wharton digital transformation program, and that was the capstone actually I built. So I thought, how could we actually
Mhm.
integrate a platform approach or this digital approach in lighting industry. And then from Mind Valley, actually, yeah, Rise with AI concept came out of my learning of how AI integrates in workflows from Mind Valley. Yes.
Right. Because it's always interesting. A lot of people have ideas, but they don't really do the next step to convert that into something that you can work with. And with you, it looks like when you have an idea, you take it by the horns and sort of make it work. First with your builder, now with Rise. So that's really great to see, because that shows also your entrepreneurship, I guess, in terms of trying to convert your knowledge and experience to I would imagine help our industry with your knowledge and what you have put together. So now, if we look at Rise, which is, I would say, is that nearly full time you're doing Rise now, or is it still sort of a balance with regular activity?
So uh, let me answer this after I want to just have a comment on what you said. It's not completely right that I have been able to uh, you know uh, uh, commercialize every idea I had. So I had a lot of ideas last 10-15 years which just are sitting on a pile of dust. and and that
No,
happens with
it's
all of us,
normal. I
right?
mean, I've got the same. I've got 10, 20 different things, and
Exactly, yes.
it comes to fruition. But at least some of them, you take them, and it
Yeah,
comes.
exactly. So that's like, out of 20, if we can take one and make that happen, that's really amazing. So I mean, I think it's very hard to have every idea converted into a product or a service, right? So I'm not actually you know uh, saying that I'm actually pretty good at converting ideas into a business or products. But I think, yeah, I've learned over the years, and I think this is great that I managed to do it, and I'm excited about it. And then the second part of your question. So Rise is still not completely full time. So it's like, I would say 60-70% of my time goes to Rise with AI, and I still do like around 30% of work with some manufacturers where I help them with business development, some strategy, some products. So I've left it with like that, and I think I want to still keep that part with the lighting industry, with the manufacturing side, because that I love that also. And also I'm actually looking to combine my Rise with AI with the lighting industry network I have and experience I have, because we need actually AI integration in lighting industry, whether that is from the lighting design side or from the manufacturing side, with the processes and with the systems that each side has.
So maybe for understanding of our audience, what exactly is RISE? What does it do? How does it help us? How do you see it going forward?
Yeah, so I think that is a very very interesting question. So I think maybe I should have mentioned it earlier, but it's good that I left it so that you could ask me. So actually, this rise, I mean, yeah, while I was defining it a few years back, I have been actually also testing things and then adopting and adapting based on how I see the response from the market. So currently, Rise with AI is AI training platform where actually I offer AI accelerators for lighting designers, where lighting designers can come and learn how to actually communicate with AI, how to create agent instructions, how to build agents, and then how to connect agents to different systems to automate, like automating a Luminar schedule. So that's what we do on these programs. So training is one part. Then consultancy is second part, where I do offer AI consultancy to businesses, lighting design, manufacturing, and also some other businesses, uh, to look at exactly their workflows, their pain points, and see what needs to be automated and where AI can actually fit in. And then we also offer automation. So I have a team in India, so where we create then based on their pain points, based on the AI opportunities, based on roadmap. So then we can create automations that can actually help them, augment with AI.
So
So it is
is
training, consultancy, and automation.
yeah, but so is RISE a description of a program that you can customize for people, or is it, let's say, an app that people can download to work within their own lighting design workflow? Is it helping with conceptual stage of lighting design, or is it helping you find light fixtures for specifications? Or in which part of the lighting design workflow, and then I'm talking really from concept to implementation, where can I fit in RISE?
So I think, yeah, it's like in our training programs, which are actually like the community training programs. So those are already curated based on, let's say, stage one, stage two, stage three, REBA stages. So from concept to initial design and detail design. So where starting with the not as such actually searching for luminaires, because I still feel that lighting designers, so we need to actually decide what we want to use in the space, but starting with actually creating lighting renders and using actually more controlled node based workflows for creating lighting renders and images and videos, then creating spec documents, luminaire schedules, spec sheets, maybe load schedules. So these are the things that actually we cover. Also, actually creating fee proposal based on your brand tone, based on your scope of work, based on your own template. So I mean, customizing, the automation of the workflow based on how a studio or how a lighting designer does his work or produces his or her work. So then the customization is there. So the generic workflow automation, so we have created that as such, but then it is still customized based on the template. If it's you, Martin, or your studio, so how you create the work and in which app or in which system you create the work, and how can we connect AI to that system, and how can it actually write in your own templates and create that work so that it becomes a client grade work. And then the other thing is also, how can you as a designer still have control on what is being actually created as an output. So it is more like Copilot approach and not autopilot at all. So autopilot, design, and
Sure.
it
The
doesn't
human touch is
doesn't
still it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I think yeah, that's about it. And we do a lot of customization for clients. And I did a program, AI program, for a large multidisciplinary architectural engineering practice with yeah, huge lighting design team, where I had 90 people from their team join my 4-week AI accelerator, and it was completely curated for based on their needs.
Mm. So I mean, we're talking generically about AI right now, but I think let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts in terms of AI can be a language program or imaging program or whatever. What is the core of your um, software? Maybe I should say that. Are you using language models, or what sort of software drives Rise in terms of? I mean, are you reasoning with your AI to create something, or how should I see that?
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. I think there is different layers to it, right? So I think the first one and the basic one is actually over the years I have actually created a lot of frameworks of how we create instructions for agents. To get the context of our
Yeah.
work, to get exactly the context of what that agent needs to do or what that AI needs to do, and how it needs to produce the work, because AI, as such, these large language models, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or some other models or Gemini, it is amazing. It's incredible. It can do anything because it's trained on like 300 billion parameters, but
Yeah.
it doesn't know about you. It doesn't know about your clients. It doesn't know how you produce the work, right? And if you want an AI assistant or an employee, you want it to create work based on how you want to present it to the client. So I think it's about instructing, and one of the frameworks that I use, and I also actually teach it in my training programs, and we create agents based on that, is rice queue framework, where we give it R is like we give it a role of, if it's a Luminar schedule assistant, that its role is to extract data from Luminar data sheets. I is then giving it instructions, so what it has to extract, because it depends on your template, what exactly you want in your template, in your
Mm.
schedule. So whether it needs to have lumen output, beam angle, SDCM. So then the instruction I, C is giving it a context why it needs to do the work, right? And it is like when you hire an employee, if the employee doesn't know why it's doing the work, all the work, it won't do that properly, right? So giving it a context of why the work is to be done. Then E is give it some examples of how, if you had a data sheet or you have a web link of a product, how you would actually create the work. And then Q is let AI ask questions. Let it be more like 360-degree interaction, and not just one way. This is it and do it. And then when AI actually works with you in a Copilot way, and whatever information it doesn't find in your data sets, it's going to ask you. And by the time you respond to it, it gives you actually clear client grade outputs, which you can actually be sure. So that's about from the input side. And then from the output side is actually how we can connect these agents to different apps and systems, like to Excel or to Word, or to send emails, or create spec documents, or create CSI specifications, or create load schedules. So I think from the context side, on the left side as an input to AI, and on the right side where it sends the work it produces in your own output template. So that's really where we come in to actually create these workflows where automation can happen, and with still Lightning Designer in the loop. And for that we use different platforms, and three major platforms are: one is Zapier. So these are like one is Zapier, second is Make, and the third one is Na10. So these are like agentic workflow platforms where we
Mhm.
can, I don't know if we can share screen. Maybe I can show you a few examples where we can actually get this OpenAI model in the workflow. We can have a trigger, we can have an input, we can have context on the left side, and on the right side, it can send information to Excel or to Word. So we can do that in Make, we can do that in Na10, but we also can do that within ChatGPT, or within Copilot, or within Claude, with MCP servers, or with connections that are pre-built. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that's it actually for work. I think for workflow automation, that's very important, to the left side the context and right side the output in your own way.
Let's push that to the end of the discussion, because I would think it would be good if we can have a little demo on how it works. That would really, I think, clarify for many people how to use it. I seem to pick up that in order to use your approach, you assume that the persons have lighting design experience, some sort of lighting design knowledge, because otherwise you can't really properly provide the inputs that are needed. That's correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because nowadays we obviously have the Claude and agents and codecs and all these the language models that can really do already quite some impressive lighting calculations for people that know nothing about lighting. They just you just ask and it will do it. So it's obviously interesting to understand what benefits a lighting designer that maybe already is using Claude in some way or Claude code. What would be their benefit of using Rise in that aspect?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think as you said, like the difference between using AI to just answer questions and then maybe even get the output you want, and then you have to copy and paste it somewhere. So I think that's still disconnected workflow. But also, I mean, if you use it, a lot of people start using it as Google, asking questions, getting answers. So that's still a primitive way of using AI, because you still actually have to do more work, getting it in your templates and creating
Mm.
actually a client grade work. And you're still not sure if that is exactly, everything is right. And you take much longer to check it, right? So I think, yeah, the approach actually we have is that we create automations or AI agents, which is actually part of your workflow. And we take part of your workflow, which is non-creative and which we call grunt work or repetitive or large data set work, which where we can deploy AI in that part of the work, and the designers can still focus on their creative, and they can free up more time for creative work while AI does the heavy lifting of large data sets and looking at large documents and repetitive work. So I think this creating like a seamless workflow within your own workflow, redefining the workflow. So there's where we come in, but also letting actually people build agents and get excited, because a lot of people are still like, oh, it will take my job, or it is too difficult, right? So making it easy for them to build agents and connect those agents to different apps. So there's where actually I come in, and we help clients.
So you actually help build a dedicated platform within Rise for specific clients or customers. Is should I see it that way?
Yeah, so I think it's as such right now not within Rise, right? So we don't have like a subscription service within Rise. So it is a consultancy or a training program where clients will just sign up, they will learn, and then they will create themselves. Or consultancy where we understand their requirements, we build workflows in their own environment, in their it could be on their server, it could be in their own account,
Yeah.
connect it to their CRM, connect it to their different systems, and then we just hand over and they do the work. But I also actually work with some clients as a fractional CAIO, which is a fractional chief AI
Mhm.
officer, where I help with their strategy, with their data sets, with their AI governance. So that's something also actually I'm looking at, because a lot of bigger companies are also wanting to have AI integrated in their work.
So Rise is basically a service.
Yeah, it is. It's currently a service, training consultancy automation service, but we are also looking at building a system where, as you were asking me, where does Rise come in? So, it could come in from a brief to fee proposal, to Lumineers schedule, to spec sheet, to load schedule, and tender review, where we're looking at also building a system which is actually combination of AI, agentic AI, and some low code environment, where actually in the future people can just use that platform and then create documents and download those documents. So that's also something that we are working in the background in alpha phase.
So many opportunities with what AI can offer us. Now, a key question that I think is part of every AI development. It's like a two prong question really. One is about privacy, because a lot of our work as lighting designer involves confidential information from our clients. So that's something that if you just use, so you're talking about creating agents, but if you use just your standard language models, you need to be really careful in terms of how you protect that. The second part is that whatever you create in terms of being an agent or just using a language model in general is that the human consciousness of everything. And I've been quite vocal about the importance of not losing our skills as the human lighting designer part. Um, Building in the necessary steps to make sure that AI doesn't concoct something that's
Yeah,
not
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
is quite essential in my opinion. And creating softwares and programs that actually also helps you learn. Not only I always feel it's not only important to have machine learning, but also to have human learning at the same
Yes. Yeah, you're
time.
correct. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one of our responsibilities as designers, and I mean, both of you and I are active in the AI world to make sure that we don't lose that touch, that experience, and that emotion about lighting design. So that's a question to you. How do you integrate that in? I mean, you have the eye from integrate in Rise. So where
Yes.
where do you integrate that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a very, very important question. And, in my AI programs, so we also get like people from small studios, right? So, where they don't have like enterprise grade systems, right? So they are okay to use Claude or they're okay to use ChatGPT. But I think it's always good to use a business subscription because that gives you actually like more, it gives you more, governance on your data. And actually, you can also select not to let
Yep.
AI models actually train on your data. But on the bigger client side and enterprise grade side, so what we do, I think, the thing is that you don't want, because there is like AI is, maybe I'll come back to what we do with enterprise grade, but I think I want to mention is also, you know I think we are at a stage where we are moving from a lot of AI tool noise to just actually focusing on our workflow and bringing AI that is good for our current workflow, and just not bothering about, oh, what is new
Oh,
today,
yeah.
what is new tomorrow, because it just makes no sense. We have to keep on changing, unless that AI we integrate is not good today, so then we need to keep on improving it. So that's number one. Number two is, so with the bigger clients, they either are on Microsoft environment or they are on Google environment. Okay, so or maybe AWS. So I think we try to also build, actually, if they are Microsoft environment, then we try to build one of most of the automations within Copilot, right? So where we can connect within Copilot Studio, so we can connect, we can build agents and we can connect Copilot Studio agents to different tools, different apps like Microsoft, like even Excel and Word, where it can create actually work in your templates, and then we can even build like child agents with that. So Copilot is also evolving quite a lot. It's become almost as good as Claude now. You can build skills in Copilot. So then we stick to that environment, but still a lot of things cannot be done in Copilot. Like it's still very poor for doing renders. It's still very poor for some other things. So then what we do is, I mentioned NA10 as a platform. So we can build automations within NA10, and we can host them on local server of the client. So then they don't have to send data to 100 different apps, because then it's actually, so that's one way of going around it. And the other way, also for lighting render, we can create these node based workflows where we can actually host it on a local server in Comfy UI. We also use Wireflow AI also for node-based workflows. But Comfy AI can be hosted on local server. So that way, actually, you can safeguard, where your data is going. And then the other thing is, you can also create a AI portal. If the company is big, you can create an AI portal with certain AI tools within that portal that the employee should use, and that's it. And then you have already business subscriptions and all the agreements in place. So there's different ways of going around.
Yeah. Well, I think that the trend will certainly be to work locally rather than publicly available. I think the major companies all try to do that anyhow. I One thing we haven't mentioned yet, which I think is an integral part of what you'll be doing, is your collaboration with Daniel and Dusk AI. How did that come about? And
Yeah, it's nice.
how does it fit within the services that you provide?
So, so Dan is a good friend, and actually, I didn't mention I worked also at Concord for a few years, and Dan was also at Concord those days. It's between I think 2011 to 13. So we were together, and since then we have been in touch. And then he was dabbling with AI, I was dabbling with AI. Then we have been always chatting and sharing the experiences. And then I think last year, at just before call for papers for Light 25 was announced. So actually, he had submitted, and he had submitted for call for papers. I wanted to submit, and then I was told that there is already, and this is true, I was told that there's already another submission which I accepted. And then I said, Dan, I wanted to also do a talk on AI. He said, oh, let's do it together. He said, Dan, he said, let's do it together because you bring something
Yeah.
else that, and we are complementary. And we started building that. That was well received. And then we applied for ILD Enlightened in Paris. So we did that. That was also well received. So we actually exchanged a lot of notes with each other. So he helps me, I help him, and we look at actually building these workflows because he comes from lighting design background. I come from more technology and AI. So how we can bring it together. So and he also joins sometimes because he is also full time working as a lighting designer. So when he has time, so he joined actually one of our programs where he was also a trainer for a few sessions. So
Is that
so
your
I'm
accelerator program? Is that what you call your
yeah, so
accelerator?
he joined one of the programs. It was like I think 4 months back or 5 months back. So where he did a program on renders. He did a session on renders and on Dusk. So yeah, so I'm also excited with what he's doing with Dusk. It's incredible.
Okay. So it seems that you guys complement each other very well in that respect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't sure about how, because I haven't been able, I've listened to some of the presentations that were on YouTube or social media. So I've been able to follow a little bit, but it's obviously not the same as being in the room.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
I know from experience that you learn a lot from being able to reach out to the audience that comes and listens to you. What is the general feedback from people that have come and listened to you and Daniel in terms of what you're trying to bring to the industry? What are there some key points that people come back to you on as like, well, what is sort of the general feedback that you get from presenting your services and the Dusk AI and Rise collaboration?
So I think what we are noticing is that people are more and more enthusiastic, and more people are already dabbling with AI, and they want to become better at it. And when they see some of the workflows, actually, what we cover in our talk is what we are noticing. Me and Dan is that people are now more receptive, and people are more actually excited about integrating AI in their work and less scared of it, right? So that's changing since last year. And when we actually start our presentation, we also ask people how many people are already using AI, and then you see more hands. But also how many people are using AI for client grade work? You still see less hands, right? So I think it's now the stage of conversion where people have been using it, maybe like Google or maybe more sophisticated way, but still not integrating. I think that integration part is now the time. I think rest of 26 and 27, where I expect to see a lot of integration in workflows where lighting designer is still in control. That's the feedback we're getting. But also in Paris, actually, a lot of people came to us, and some people joined my recent AI program, which finished end of last month, end of July. And we had also people, mentees from Silhut Awards. They joined it also. So I'm like really, amazed with kind of excitement people have to build agents and see how they can transform their workflows. So I think it looks exciting for us, Martin, and I really appreciate you bringing us together. Although you're doing also similar work, you also actually offer similar services, but still, talking to me and talking to others who are dabbling with AI and who are actually integrating with AI, I really appreciate and a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I appreciate you also coming and talk to me, because I think we need each other. We can support each other, because there's still quite a lot of skeptics around. And a question to you here is, what do you say to those skeptics that say, "Oh no, I prefer to still use my pen and pencil, and paper and pencil, and do my design work the old-fashioned way." There's a few people like that in the industry, specifically the older generation. How do you address that?
Yeah, I think that is a difficult one. So I think I have like two thoughts on that, and I try one of those, right? So the first one is that show them what's possible, right? And some of them show them actually how they can build schedules faster, how they can build spec sheet faster, where they save a lot of time, or they could build maybe load schedules faster, or do a tender review faster. And then if something clicks, they would be less skeptical and they would try actually one of that, right? Where it if it is really a pain point or a challenge that resonates with them. But so I think maybe half of them would accept one of the get excited about it, but the other half is still like no, because what I think is mundane and is repetitive, they just love that. They love that, and they think that their creativity comes out from doing that kind of stuff and having full control of the project, where they know every nut and bolt of the project, every line and dot of the project. So I think for them, then that's also fine, right? So you don't have to use AI, and you can continue doing that until you feel that now you cannot compete or you cannot do the work because you are taking too long to produce the documents, or too long to produce the work, and then maybe you are actually able to do less projects. So I think that's what I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned time. Um, I have been sort of trying to get my head around, you know, the whole issue of time, because our services were generally time based, right? We
Yeah,
charge
correct.
for time. So now we are saying, oh, but you're going to gain so much time, and you're gonna uh, uh, reduce your workflow with 2 or 3 days a week. And so, where do you stand on that? Because yes, of course, you can say you can gain time, but you're also exploring things perhaps that you weren't exploring before. Yeah, so you're adding also different scopes. You're creating more concepts potentially. So this whole idea of gaining time, yes, I get it also. But at the same time, we're also looking at creating more value. And I think that's where we potentially need to position this whole AI integration, is creating value. And in the process, trying to not lose our skills in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah, no, that's important.
the
Yeah.
process, because I'm playing a little bit around also with an AI agent that we have created to see how it actually reflects my actual design thinking, and how is it, how close is it to how I would do it, right?
Hmm.
And there's still quite a gap between what the AI comes up with and what I would normally have come up with. Um, and quite honestly, I also like the process of designing and sketching,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
um,
sure, sure.
so moving to using AI is a bit of a process, I have to say, but very interesting. I love it, and I'm always, I started with just a fluorescent tube and some incandescent lamps and some very simple hand calculations, because we even didn't have computers when I started.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So today with AI, but I would love to hear your feelings about this, because I think this whole time value balance is something that we need to evaluate and assess in the process of integrating AI.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. So I mean, it actually appeals to different people in a different way, right? So I think in terms of work-life balance, right? So if we actually regain some time because AI does some of the work which we don't like,
Mm.
and we don't bring a lot of value in it, right? As creative people, so I think there is a real opportunity where we don't do what we hate or what we don't like, and we have more time either to do more projects, more creative work, creating more magic with light, or improving our work life, where we could maybe work only 4 days or only 3 days a week, or having a passion
Still,
project or
still charging the same.
I think charging the same is still debatable, right? So I think if you could actually now see that light and design fee may drop, right? Where, but also you spend less effort in creating some of the work where actually a lot of, junior people did spend a lot of effort, or a lot of mid-level people spend a lot of effort, with the repetitive work or large data sets. I think these large data sets, even if you're so experienced, when you have to look at, like, 20 different data sheets, or you have to look at, like, whole project database in your project folders, with your drawings, with your plans, and then also emails. So I mean, we as humans will take much longer than AI, certainly. So right. So I think it's like identifying those pain points and challenges which either actually slow us down, or we hate, or we don't add value, and freeing up time. And then everybody has, like, different ambitions, right? If it is to start a side hustle, and I think we mentioned earlier, right? A lot of ideas we all of us have, and how can we create that as a side hustle? Because that's sometimes we are not actually in a profession that combines with our passion. So how can we do something with our passion, and maybe make that as a side hustle or as a hobby, or simply doing more business, more projects, right? With the same team, not hiring people, but do more projects, and or just improve the work life. I think that would be also amazing, spending 3 days with family, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm lucky now because I obviously don't depend anymore really on project income, since I'm sort of semi-retired. I can really focus on my knowledge sharing and education and all that. But I do find I still do a few projects here and there. But what I find is that because of my experience, I know intuitively sometimes what the right solution is. And then I see AI reasoning its way through all kinds of concepts. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I know already it has to be this. Or so
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to explore and assess all that now, and see where AI can really be our assistant. We keep in control, obviously. Make sure we have the guardrails in place to make sure that we comply with the lighting quality standards that we want to see. But that intuition, that emotion, and that experience is something that AI is still a long way in being able to provide to us. So that's a bit my dilemma at the moment, seeing where AI can help to the extent that we can still learn and grow from the design process itself. Because every time you do a project, you go to the cycle from conceptualizing to implementation, you learn and you grow. But if you let AI do that, where is your learning and your growing? Right. So I would love to also hear how you see and how you can implement that within the whole RISE concept, in terms of making sure that we don't get robots later, but we still have humans in the design process.
Yeah, no, I think that's a difficult question for every industry, and specifically more difficult for creative industry, because
Mm.
well, I would say more difficult for creative industry, but also easier. I think easier in the sense is that AI cannot be creative, right? It doesn't have that, the gut feel. It doesn't have that emotions, and it will not have those emotions, at least for next decade, I would say, where it can make the judgment. So that way, I think from the creative side, so we will still own the creative part of the concept work and how actually it's presented. But I think learning from actually things that we want to give to AI because it is repetitive or is large data sets. I think maybe initial part of the career. So maybe not let juniors use AI, but that's also brutal because they are learning in a different way already. Yeah. So how they prepare for their exams and how they're already using AI, and if they are actually now in your studio and you tell them no, for first 2 3 years you're not allowed to use AI, so maybe they will not actually like that, and they may not do it, right? So I think we are riding a wave which is like one of the fastest transformation wave, which is like I think 50 or 100 times faster than what we have seen. So it's very very difficult
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
situation to have like the right prediction, but fingers crossed. So if we do the right things, we can still, you know, uh, have humans in control and AI as our subordinate and assistant.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, don't forget, when we are looking at AI and how it impacts on designers, older generation, younger generation. But don't forget, our clients also use AI, and they are as ready, if not more informed nowadays when you face them, because they have now tools to their use that can help them prepare themselves really well for when you come and face them, right? So I've had that question from a few lighting designers during my presentations, like, yeah, well, but my clients are already into AI as well, so they
Yes,
come prepared, you know.
yes, yeah,
So I
yeah.
need to be prepared too.
Yeah, that's right. And also, actually, I was having a chat with my friend from SAP, from IT, and we were talking about AI in the SAP world. And then I think he made a presentation in Dubai, in Middle East, to a big client. And the guy said, and he said something that this is not possible, right, within SAP system. And the guy said, no, it's possible. And then they took the challenge, and it went to the corporate level. And then the guy had actually the client had checked it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said it's possible. It was possible, but not in that specific context, right? So things are also clients getting answers from AI, which is sometimes also not correct, right? So it's also our responsibility to tell them, guys, it's not correct, because AI does hallucinate if it doesn't have right context and right information, right, or right training data sets.
Now, if somebody wants to dive into AI today, what would you recommend would be the best steps to take? I mean, where to start? How to familiarize? What would you say? Because you provide that sort of service, what would be the best way to get yourself familiarized with AI and where it can help you in the workflow?
So I think the best way is to, I think always, the best way is to start exploring, but then not keep it in the exploration phase, but to learn how to effectively instruct AI with the right context, how to give it the context, how to give it like, information about your work, about your client, about your project, connect the right data sets so that you can get good results. But also, as I was mentioning earlier, specific frameworks like RISE Q framework, instruct agent. So I think once you start doing that, and then if you can apply that to one of your challenges or pain points in your workflow, and if you can do that for one of the pain points or workflows at a time, and once you see the results, and over the period of time, you can actually also measure your ROI on that, and that actually gives you also confidence to elevate and show up with AI more and more, right? So I think it's about learning how to communicate, how to instruct AI, and then creating AI-powered workflow, and then actually once you are happy with it, then seeing how you can deploy it further. So I think, yeah, that's what I would advise.
So, you have any favorite AI tools that you use on a daily basis, or which one you feel is most helpful in our profession?
So I think, yeah, Claude has been the best, but I mean, I will admit that I've never used Claude. And specifically, there is a reason for that, that I still am on Copilot and ChatGPT. And ChatGPT reason is that the thing is that I realized last year that, there's no point actually switching from one model to another. The thing is that if you want this large language models to be your real assistant, they need to have continuous
Train.
context of your work. They need to learn, keep on learning from you, from your everyday activity. And if I do some work in ChatGPT, someone in Claude, somewhere elsewhere, then I'm actually, spreading my footprint, AI footprint, too thin.
Mhm.
So I want to keep it in all in one place. That's why I still use Codex, ChatGPT, Copilot, Studio, and I know that Claude has some things that were not in ChatGPT, but ChatGPT now you can have skills, you can do Codex. So it's actually, I think, if you stick to one of the large language models, which is good enough, whether that's Claude or ChatGPT, they're equally good now. So I did that, and I don't advise moving from one to another, because a lot of people advocate that, well, you can actually
Mm.
you do this in Claude, this in ChatGPT, this in. So I don't do that, and I think one of my favorite tools is certainly is one of the large language models, ChatGPT, but now also Copilot. But for renders, actually, Wireflow AI is like this node-based workflow where you can create actually from your base image, daylight image with your prompt. You create the first layer of light, then you prompt again, you create the second layer of light, third layer, then you can create a walkthrough video, and
Mm.
then you have more control on image generation. So it doesn't change anything from your reference image or previous image. So that's actually like, I think it's an apple of node based workflow that I have been using last 1 month. It's from Australia, actually. The guys are in Australia. Maybe you should explore that. So Wireflow is great. Anit and then Make is my other two tools that I simply love to create these workflows. So we could not share the screen here, Martin, but maybe I will share you some.
I can ask Ingmar. I just wanted to have one or two parting questions, and then we can see if we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
bring up.
No, what I can do, Martin, is that I will share you some screenshots. Then you can use them as B-roll. I think that's better. It's easier.
Yeah, but we probably still need some explanations to go with it. So,
Okay.
but it's okay. Let's just wrap this up first. Obviously, I think it's a very good recommendation to stick with one. I've started with ChatGPT. I've now sort of moved to Claude, but still use both. They sort of uh, sort of keep tech with each other, and Vinay also in the background. But yeah, I think it's good to stick to one to create that learning path with them, and it starts to learn you as a person, and how you think and how you write and how you speak, etc. So very good point. Now, um, if if there's anything you could share with the industry on where we are today and where we are going. What do you think? Where are we going over the next 2, 3, maybe 5 years? 5 years seems way too far away. I
Way
think
too far.
the
Yeah.
way things develop so quickly, probably we need to look at the next 2, 3 years. But for lighting professionals, what do they really need to look out for, and what is it that we should be seeing that is coming our way, and we need to really notice if we want to be still relevant in the next 2, 3 years.
Yeah, I think that's difficult to predict, right? So I can say from my experience looking at also different industries, as I said, Netflix, how Netflix changed the entertainment industry, or how Uber changed, the ride industry, right? So I think certainly AI would change a lot of industries, how the work is done. Not necessarily that it will replace people, specifically the creative people, but I think really, I think for me it's about unlearning and then relearning,
Mm.
but not just relearning, unlearning and transforming. So I think it's unlearning what we have learned in last 30 years or 20 years or 10 years, unlearning not the core of our work, but unlearning how we produce the work, which software we use for the work, because those softwares would not be good enough, right? Whether it's Photoshop or it is Excel or it's PowerPoint or other things, I mean CAD, or BIM, or whatever it is. So I think it's just trying unlearn, just trying to disconnect from those workflows so that we can be flexible to learn how it can be done in a different way with the AI first approach. And then it's not just learning, because if you just learn the new approach, it's not enough. So it is then integrating and transforming. So I think unlearn, learn, and transform. So this is what I would actually say.
Mm. I think we could use some sort of a lighting design AI council, some sort of group of key players like yourself and others that are very active in bringing AI to our industry, to somehow meet regularly and discuss where we are going, because there's obviously many different ways to go, and you may end up with having so many different ways of executing some of the workflow repetitive tasks. You do it your way, and others do it in other ways,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
using different softwares. But I, I'm, I'm just thinking, that it would be potentially good to have some sort of regular catch up between key players in what we develop and how we develop it, and make sure that the human aspect remains relevant in all that. So just some food for thought. I don't know what you
Yeah,
think
no,
about.
I think that's a great idea, Martin. And the fact that, I mean, we are speaking together, this is already like, a big step towards, your thought and your, idea about that. So bringing me together, and I think you had also like, I think Faraz was there with you, right? Maybe who else? Flynn was there, I guess. So I think bringing us together and talking about AI, and not thinking that we could be competing, so that's not the idea. So I think it is like how we can contribute something to the industry where everyone can benefit out of it. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, certainly. And
Sounds
yeah.
good. Well, uh, I'll reach out after this and see if we can do something. Any parting message to the industry?
No, I think it's just that, as I was saying, it's about transformation, and I think let's keep on looking at how we can transform our industry, our workflow ourselves. Well, that is with AI or without AI. So, but I think with AI, it will be actually faster, and if we use it in the right way, we can empower ourselves, we can augment our teams, and we can actually safeguard our future and grow faster. So, Martin, really pleasure. Thank you very much. So it was really, I enjoyed the conversation.
Very good.